Hello guys, welcome to a season review of Arsenal's campaign in 2019 to 2020. Yes, we are doing a season review. I wanted to sit you guys down, turn on this camera and give you my thoughts and feelings to Arsenal's season, the highs, the lows and kind of what I expect going into a brand new season. Is analysing Arsenal coming back? Who knows, you have to watch this space, but hope you guys enjoy this video. Sit back, relax and enjoy my Arsenal season review. And what a season it has been for Arsenal. It has been the best and worst in so many different ways. And what I mean by that is that, let's just say first and foremost, that Arsenal have been absolutely woeful. Absolutely woeful. Let's make no question about that. It's been absolutely terrible. You know, we finished 8th in the Premier League this season. Our lowest ever finish in, I think, 25 years it might be, or 15 years maybe. It's absolutely unacceptable. At the start of the season, we thought the top 4 looked to be good. We are nowhere near top 4. We are absolutely nowhere near the Premier League title. Knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Liverpool, although we were quite unfortunate in that game because that was a 5-5 game. A brilliant game. A lot of the youngsters for Arsenal featured. A lot of the youngsters for Liverpool featured, and we did lose, unfortunately, on penalties. We did win the FA Cup, and I'll come to that in just a moment. And we were also kicked out of the Europa League round of 32 at the hands of Olympiacos. So, yes, we have a trophy, but we've had many more negative points this year than positive points, and we've had 3 different managers. And if we go right the way back to the beginning of the season, you know, we had Unai Emery, who had a good, strong start to the campaign at the beginning of his Arsenal tenure. But after getting beaten by Crystal Palace at the end of, or middle of April I should say, we bottled it. We absolutely bottled it. We were shooing for the top 4 and we threw that away. We then capitulated in Baku in the Europa League final against Chelsea. And you have to kind of question that really, because we were in such a strong position going into the final stretch of that season. We were in such a good position going into that Europa League final. Chelsea had finished 3rd, they'd guaranteed Champions League football, and on paper Arsenal looked stronger and better, and we should have beaten Chelsea. We didn't beat Chelsea, we got ripped to shreds in Baku, and that recurring theme of that we would concede a goal and we would then fall down. I really don't understand what that was, and there's always been a kind of mentality problem at Arsenal where we concede a goal, we fall over. So that was something that Unai Emery had to address going into his second season. He had to buy players, he had to kind of really improve the squad, and in my opinion, I think last summer we had a great and a fantastic transfer window. You know, we signed Nicolas Pepe, who hasn't hit the heights, but at the time was a very exciting signing because, you know, the thought of having, you know, Ozil, Lacazette, Aubameyang and Pepe, I mean, that is a really good forward front line. On their day, if all 4 of those players are on top form, wow, we've got such a strong attack. Danny Ceballos, I thought was going to be a really good, strong, solid midfield, no-nuts sort of player. And David Luiz, who, you know, he is, on his day, he can be a really, really good defender, and he's won, you know, a lot of trophies at Chelsea. When he's on his, you know, best form, when he's firing all cylinders, he's a joy to watch. But when he's not, he is absolutely at the other end of the spectrum, and he is absolutely diabolical. So you kind of had, you know, David Luiz, Danny Ceballos, Nicolas Pepe. We've got William Saliba joined us, who is another strong and good defender. I've seen bits of him in the French league. He looks good. So you have to say that for the last couple of years, we've been crying out for the ball there at Arsenal to, you know, get behind the manager, back the manager, and absolutely say that, you know, this is our intent, this is your intent, here's the money, go and get the players. And I don't think many Arsenal fans could really say that the transfer window we had last summer was a bad one. It was actually one of our better ones. And going forward, I thought we had a squad that was more than capable of getting into the top 4. I didn't think we were good enough to win the Premier League title. I mean, we're a million miles away from Liverpool and Manchester City. But I do think we had a squad that was capable of getting, you know, into the Champions League next season. And that's where Arsenal want to be. You know, we're kind of going into 4 or 5 years without being in the Champions League, and that is really where Arsenal need to be. And then from that point on, you can build into trying getting into the top 3, and then slowly but surely try to build a team that is worthy of winning a title. You're probably looking at this being like a 5-year project, and you've got to have, you know, good transfer windows. You've got to build a good unity with the squad, and the manager plus the squad have got to be on the same kind of page. And we had a good start to the season. I remember we narrowly beat Newcastle on the opening day of last season. We then got a 2-1 win against Burnley, And then we did lose to Liverpool in our third game, which was on a bank holiday, if I remember. It was the bank holiday weekend of summer last year, or August of 2019. And although we lost that game 3-1, I do think it was one of our best performances at Anfield. And I actually remember it was one of the last analysing Arsenal videos I did before I kind of ended this series prematurely and decided to kind of give it a break. I remember sitting there thinking to myself that actually there was a really good team performance there, and Liverpool just beat us because they're a better side and the quality they have is much, much better. But I remember, and even kind of towards the end of Unai Emery's first season, I absolutely remember that the only thing that I didn't like is that there was kind of boring football. I always kind of sat there and I fell in love with Arsenal because they play exciting, crisp, clear-cut football, and it's sort of the principle that Arsene Wenger had over his, tenure. And although we weren't strong and ruthless and tough as a team, we did play, really attractive football, catchy on the eye, really good to see. And I felt we lost that with Unai Emery. And there were so many games that were just so boring to watch. It was sideways, it was passive, it was negative, and we were conceding like 30, 31 shots a game, no matter if we played Liverpool or Southampton. But you could forgive that if you get results and you get, trophy and into the Champions League. I would forgive that. I wouldn't necessarily enjoy every single Arsenal game that I was watching, but I could forgive that if it was, contributing to getting results. And it wasn't contributing to getting results. That was the big problem at the time. We were not mainly losing games, we were dropping a lot of points. I remember we lost to Sheffield United, we lost to, I can't remember who else we lost to. I think we drew a lot of games, we drew to Southampton. We just had an absolute string of games. I remember Norwich we drew to, Manchester United we drew to. Was it Tottenham? Tottenham we drew to at the beginning of September. Aston Villa we narrowly beat. But as we got into kind of October and November, and then towards the end of Unai Emery's time, we were just slipping further and further down the table. We lost to Brighton, I remember. That was one of Freddie Ljungberg's games. But we were just not improving. We weren't winning games. We were conceding chance after chance, and we were slipping further and further down the table. We lost in an Europa League game, which was one of the final games that Unai Emery played. And I just remember that there was such a big divide between what his principles were and what we wanted to see as fans. And there was so much confusion running into players' heads because, players are being told to play in this sort of formation on the one hand and then playing that sort of formation in the other hand. And, you're creating confusion because all of the principles and instructions that you have and you've had for, kind of 12, 15, 18 months, you're just throwing out of the window. And the amount of formation changes that Unai Emery was making was absolutely ridiculous. So it got to that point where it was untenable, and Arsenal had to make that decision and did make that decision. Unai Emery was sacked. Freddie Ljungberg came in on an interim basis, and again, I don't think he was ready in regards to taking the job, but I do think that he did the best he could with the squad that he could get. And then, of course, Mikel Arteta comes in, who has done really, really well as an assistant manager to Pep Guardiola. And I think when Mikel Arteta came in, you could see that he was a no-nonsense type of manager. He would be very, very honest, and he is absolutely aware of the situation that he's in. He knows he hasn't got a title winning squad around him. He knows he probably hasn't even got a Champions League winning squad or getting into the top 4, that kind of squad. You're probably looking at a top 6, top 8 club, and his job now is to get Arsenal from 8th to 4th, then to 3rd maybe, and then go on to win a title. And I think that I truly back Mikel Arteta because I can see positive signs there. He's come from Pep Guardiola, so he's got the knowledge, and I think that experience that he had with Pep Guardiola is absolutely so important. And in fact, he probably should have been Arsenal manager when Arsene Wenger resigned in 2018. Well, resigned, you could say resigned or sacked or left. But in May 2018, it should have been Mikel Arteta instead of Unai Emery, because Mikel Arteta has given us glimpses of what we can do as a club. We've beaten Liverpool, we've beaten Manchester City, we've beaten Chelsea since Project Restart. And I also think that, let's not forget that the COVID-19 pandemic is sandwiched in between. So you had kind of Unai Emery's final days as Arsenal manager, having a decent start to his second season, then it getting worse and worse and worse. It ends up him leaving. Freddie Ljungberg comes on an interim basis, and then towards the end of December, Mikel Arteta joins, he draws to Bournemouth, he loses to Chelsea, and then he slowly starts to get results. We beat Newcastle, we beat West Ham narrowly, and then COVID-19 hits. Mikel Arteta gets COVID-19, and football ceases for 3 months. But I actually think that has probably done Mikel Arteta and the squad a lot of good, because he can kind of really get to work on the mental and psychological aspect of the team and really start to put his plans into place on paper. And it was a difficult start when the season resumed. We lost to Manchester City and we just weren't at it. We made a catalogue of errors. Manchester City were all over us and thoroughly deserved the win. We were shocking against Brighton. But then that game against Brighton, that defeat that we had at the Amex Stadium, was a real wake-up call. Our season was over anyway. In regards to the Premier League, we weren't getting into the Champions League. I didn't even think we were going to get into the Europa League. But we turned it around. We played a brilliant display against Norwich. We beat Southampton. We beat Wolves, who are a tricky team. We drew to Leicester. We lost to Tottenham, but easily should have won. But then we beat Liverpool. We then beat Manchester City in the FA Cup. We beat Watford on the final day. And although we lost to Aston Villa just recently, I don't think we were really at it that day. And Aston Villa just played better and deserved it more. And I don't think really Arsenal were geared up for that game after playing 2 very difficult games against Liverpool and against Manchester City. It's not perfect, but there's been glimpses. Against Chelsea in that FA Cup final, things weren't going well. But Mikel Arteta changed it straight away. Realised that there was a weakness in Chelsea's defence of balls going over the top into Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and he then forwarded the team into exploiting that area, and then we changed the game. We defended for our lives against Liverpool. We reacted to mistakes. We've got this new sort of pressing. The amount of goals we've scored from pressing the defence or pressing the goalkeeper. So you can see what Mikel Arteta is trying to do. And the fact that we ended a season with beating Manchester City, one of the best performances I think I've ever seen from an Arsenal team in years. We stifled Manchester City and looked really dangerous on the counter-attack. We had steel, we had a spine, and I've not seen that in many, many years. So we had that, we have, a cutting-edge striker, one of the best strikers in the Premier League, in Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and he's got quality around him. So to end the season with an Europa League place for next year, to finish with a trophy, Mikel Arteta's first trophy in 6 months, it gives that group of players so much confidence. And we need 4 or 5 big signings, definitely. We need to keep Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Take anything else away, we must keep Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang at Arsenal Football Club. He must stay at the club. The longer he stays at the club, the more success, because Mikel Arteta wants to build a team around him. We want him to stay. We want to build a team around him. We need to get rid of Mesut Ozil. Mesut Ozil needs to go. The fact that he's still being paid £350,000 a week. Murchie Guendouzi is just not the player at this point after what he did against Brighton. I just think there's such a big disconnect between what he wants and what the club wants. We need to get rid of the players that are just not good enough. We've got Saliba coming in, keep Ceballos, keep Aubameyang. There's talk of us getting Willian, or there's been so many players that we've been linked with. Machio. So, you can see that Mikel Arteta has got the building blocks put into place. He needs time, he needs money, and he needs to be backed. But I can see something. I don't want us to keep being in the Europa League or being, mediocre. This is the time now where Arsenal need to stand up and start to progress. As many of the other clubs, Manchester United under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Chelsea under Frank Lampard, Liverpool, Manchester City at the top, and even Tottenham under Jose Mourinho have had glimpses of what they're about and what they can do. And the building blocks are there. We just need to kind of take it from step to step, build it piece by piece, block by block. And I do generally think that if Mikel Arteta gets the backing, the money and the players that he wants, Arsenal could be dangerous next year. And it's a big, big year for us. Obviously, as long as we can continue to be watching football and football to resume under the COVID-19 pandemic and everything is so unknown. But I do think that Project Restart has been such a big success, and the Premier League has done very, very well in this period to try and make everybody safe and keep football and conclude the season. So there's been many points over this period where Arsenal have just not been good enough, but there's been positive signs. And one big positive is Emiliano Martinez. Bert Leno's injured against Brighton. He's come in and really stepped up. And I think Mikel Arteta's got a big headache in whether he starts Leno next season or Martinez, because Martinez has been that good. So I think that if you were going to grade Arsenal's season out of 10, you'd probably give it a 5 or a 6. But there's positive signs there, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we do next season, what players we sign. And I think I would like, and I aim for Arsenal to be in the Champions League next season. Whether we do that by winning the Europa League or whether we get into the top 4, it's going to be difficult, but we just need to improve. If we can sit here next season, or at the end of next year, whenever that season finishes, we need to identify and look back at where we are right now to where we are next summer. And if there has been that progression and that growth, then we can judge Mikel Arteta as being successful. But we need a good transfer market. We need to tie down Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. It looks like he is going to be staying, so that's great. We need to tie him down to a long-term contract, build the team around him. We've got Saliba coming in, keep Dani Ceballos, and maybe add 2 or 3 more top draw players, and then we go from there. We need to aim to win a trophy next season and get into the Champions League. If we do that next year, it's been a very successful season, and that's exactly where we need to be for Mikel Arteta. But that is my thoughts and feelings to Arsenal season review. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down in the comment section below. I did stop analysing Arsenal because I was kind of just getting to that point where I was enjoying turning on this camera and talking to you guys about football, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to do a new season of analysing Arsenal. I'll have to kind of judge that nearer the time, but I wanted to do the season review. And as I said, let me know your thoughts and feelings. Follow me on Twitter at DJBagpuss1998. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to the channel for more great content. And until next time, this is DJ Bagpuss signing out. Take care, and I shall see you all later. Take care, and I shall see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye.